The Flyin Lion says,
boys, hell is real.
2023 Supporter Shield champs.
So glad that I can be back with people who know that it's a Flyin Lion.
It shows how much we all love this club.
Yeah, just a fan of the sport, you know.
It's definitely tougher to be an academy player than it is a pro.
In this club, you don't play just for the club, you play for the fans.
Jersey swap, car of the week, trivia question of the week.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Flyin Lion Podcast. We are coming off 5 wins in a row. Big feelings. I think we're all feeling really good after this, especially at TQL Stadium. Beautiful day. Ryan, how are we feeling after this?
Feeling good, man. 5 in a row, 6 in a row unbeaten. Top of the Eastern Conference, Sam. Close to this Supporter Shield top as well. I mean, with would kind of echo that.
Yeah, I know. I mean, match day 10, right? Against Sporting KC at home for this one. I think we talked about last week. Last time we had them in the building was 2023. So not really a familiar face that you see in TQL Stadium that often. So glad everybody got out there. Ryan, like I said, beautiful day, sold out stadium at TQL. Unfortunately, both of us weren't there. If you can't tell already, Ryan's down in Florida, living it up. So we were not able to be there, but obviously watched the game, saw the vibes, and it was immaculate, right? Anything to touch on there, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm repping my FC down here in Florida, seeing a lot of Inter Miami people. I'm in Miami, so thought about going to the Messi v. Lucho game that was yesterday, but Messi didn't want to show up. Lucho's team ended up getting the win anyway. So for a different conversation, a different time, obviously, but repping the orange and blue, feeling good about it. And yeah, ready to talk about this game. Like Sam said, match day number 10. We got a 2-1 win at home. Again, just perfect setting, for this 2:30 match, Sam. Another one of the early ones.
We love those.
Happy to see that. Yeah, I love Nick Hagman's post. If you guys didn't see it, he's like, man, me as a parent of 2, gotta love those 2:30 match days. So I'm sure a lot of people could echo that as well. But Sam, in this lineup, for what we saw, any surprises that you want to comment on?
Surprises, I know for us, we had put out a poll, I believe the day before, seeing if, people, what do we think? You think Anonga's going to start? You think Obi's going to start? Obviously, the real answer was Anunga's going to start because Obi's just coming back, get him some minutes coming off the bench. But once again, we see Matt Miazga with the armband. But I think you and I had kind of talked about, once again, we're putting out a strong lineup here and back-to-back games, really.
Yeah, strong lineup. You see Luca Orishano back in there, and playing the striker role is kind of what they have him listed as. You get Matt Miazga that's starting again. We had some questions, if that was going to be the case or not. And then Obi was back on the bench, Sam, like you had said. So good all around. We're pretty much, would you say, close to full strength at this point?
Yeah, I'd say so. Obviously, still missing Kubo and Hadebe as kind of those rotational pieces. But yeah, I mean, we're as close as we've seen all year. Yeah,
well, and to be able to grind out results like they have, even with these kind of piecemealed lineups. But yeah, in this one, it was solid. And against the Sporting KC team, lost their manager earlier on in the season. Feels like a winnable game, but like we've talked about the past few weeks, is you still got to go out and do it. You still got to beat these teams, and they've been able to beat the teams that they've needed to beat. Yeah, I don't know. What was your early thoughts on the early part of the game?
Yeah, early part of the game, dude. I thought we came out aggressive. I thought it was great, good energy. You see a couple chances there early from Denkey, from Orishano too, playing, outside the 18 there. But then it's once again that first 15 minutes we're looking real good, high energy. Mm-hmm. And Sporting KC had a couple. I think they kind of took over the game for the next maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes there, and really gave us, some tough looks there.
Yeah, good shout. I mean, with their attack, and I think with Jovic, former
Kid's
LA
good.
Galaxy guy
Kid's good.
coming in. Yeah, I mean, they were giving us some fits. And I think the one thing I would touch on early, especially, was seeing how much that Engel was attacked or involved, I should say, in the attack. down the left side, creating chances, whipping balls into the box. He had a lot of balls that were across the six that nobody was there, to finish. But to create those chances early on was nice to see. We get rewarded finally, in the first half. We do get that goal. We had touched upon it several episodes now in a row, just like that's been an issue. 3 games in a row now, 4 games in a row now, where we've seen goals in the first half. 43rd minute, we do get that chance. Like I was talking about, Engel with several dangerous chances down that left side, several balls that he whipped across. This time, 43rd minute, he gets a shot off and a pretty decent one. Keeper is forced to make a save off to his left, pushes the ball out, and Kevin Denkey just right in the right position, striker's or poacher's goal, if you want to say, and puts it away beautifully. 2 games in a row now for him in that moment. Any thoughts on this first goal? We go up 1-0.
Yeah, I think once again, just something we've seen all year is the press, the FC Cincinnati press, and that high press continue to turn the ball over. I know it wasn't too much of like a pressure situation, but once again, we're high, right? So that forces Kansas City to kind of just get rid of the ball in an area that they don't want to, and it falls to Anunga, and we go from there. Vander's able to pick out Buka right there in the middle, and I think in those portions you can see Vander and Buka being on the same page once again. But I mean, I think I've seen some other podcasts too talk about it as like Orishano, obviously. It felt like his chances this first half, Ryan, they looked the exact same. And maybe like throughout the game, like him cutting in on that left, and then he'd run into like 3 defenders and didn't have anything to do with the ball.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of the same. He was creating those chances. I mean, he's getting in dangerous positions. It's like a similar conversation of Lucho last year, in my opinion, of or even a few years now. Beat 1, beat 2. Can't beat the 3rd or the 4th, so you beat that initial 1 off the dribble and then play the ball through. We had seen where there's guys that are open if he's going to draw that many defenders. I think we'll kind of touch on it, is the question of him being more as a striker, more as that dueling 10. Is he a right wing back? Where do we see him as a fit in this team, if anywhere? But I mean, I was happy at least that 1-0 up, we get the goal that we need to against the team that we should. And like you say, Sam, you say it a lot, is if you keep the teams in it by making it 0-0, the longer it is at home and for the away team, the more they build in hope and chances. And I think Roman made some decent saves in the first half to kind of
he made a 1v1 save. The
1v1 comes to mind especially. Shout out to Tommy G. I was listening to the local broadcast for it. It's the first time I've been able to kind of hear that. And it was cool commentary for them just to kind of point on those things that we were talking about, how much the attack had been on the right side recently, how much now, it looked like in this game, it was down the left side. So those are some of the things that, we'll continue to keep an eye on. Sam, I think for Denkey, it's kind of okay, it's a striker's dream just to get this rebound, for his goal. Just a right moment, right place, right moment, obviously. But to put yourself okay, there's a shot, you're going to get the deflection, you're going to crash the goal is kind of what you're taught to do. And we see that a lot of times where the shot goes in and the guys just kind of stand.
Well, also I will say
there.
to Engel's point, right? Being able to shoot far post, right? Because that's what you're also taught as well, is if you're going to shoot to that far post, make the goalkeeper work for it, and hopefully somebody is on the other end over there. Whereas if you shoot near post, maybe it deflects, goes out, you get a corner, or it hits the post or something, right? If he doesn't get a goal there. But I think that's also a crucial piece too.
Yeah, good point. You were texting me. Did you think that Engel deserved a goal in this game, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, later on we see 70th minute. He's well offside when you look back at it, but he's on it, right? And he nutmegs the keeper for a goal. So I thought that was pretty cool. And that would have been Santos's third assist in 2 games, which is also pretty crazy too. But once again, just left a little bit early. And I think that's
Yeah.
been a bit of a trend from not only, Denkey, but also the rest of the FC players is those offsides, right? Like we're just a little bit too early, a little bit too eager. But once again, Engel being in the formation of the attack there.
Yeah, and I was just going back to look. You mentioned 70th minute. We see Santos come in around that time. I think it was about 65th minute, roughly, or 63rd. You had Miazga that had come off, I believe, and then a Nunga. So we get the return of Abino Wogodo. He had been out for the last several games. So happy to see him back in a moment where we're actually leading.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. But then you had Yedlin that slides into the middle. An interesting thing that I had kind of picked up in the broadcast was, they bring in, Santos in this moment. They bring in Obi. They didn't bring in Flores, Sam. So you had Miazga that comes out. Is that a sign of like, hey, like Nunga or not Nunga? Flores, did he struggle the last game? Is that something to be seen there? Or I don't know what your thoughts are on that, but they had Yedlin slide in, and then eventually I think Powell had gone out wide, but Luca was covering there. So any thought to that there?
I mean, as far as Flores, I'm not sure we can look into it too much. Maybe just a case of getting him some more rest, or I mean, I know Yedlin played a solid game that game as well. Yeah, I mean, it is a bit interesting. I know you'd rather almost see Flores start just because you want to come out with that energy like we talked about in the first half, rather than in the second half, because he's got a little bit less inexperience than Yedlin does, right? So maybe with a 1-0 lead, you want just some more experience there in the back, rather than having that quickness or anything like that. So maybe just something in that.
Yeah, that's true. And maybe just to give him like a rest too. Like he's played so many minutes, especially as well. So, but then the big moment comes, 78th minute, Sam. You got to walk me through this one.
Oh my gosh. This is,
like you said in our outline, one of the best goals you'll ever see. Whether you were live, like I think somebody had even commented and said, like, if you weren't there, like you're going to tell somebody you were there. Like, because you would have wanted to see it live, obviously. But even watching it, I mean, unbelievable. I mean, to even attempt what happens in this play. Walk me through.
Yeah, so obviously, like, play starts with a corner, and it's one of those classic where corners just kicked out back to Luca in the corner there, and he's trying to make something out of nothing, right? Try and get something back into the box where everybody is. And once he's able to do that, we've got Denkey. If you go and, I mean, obviously, everybody who's listening has probably rewatched this at least 10 to 15 times. If you watch it every single time, how casual he is to begin his bicycle kick. Just how casual. It's almost like he was just, hey, I'm going to do a flip here rather than a bicycle kick. He's just, hey, I'm going to flip for no reason. But yeah, he starts the bicycle kick and you're just in awe, right? Because it hits like above the goalkeeper's hands, near post. Just a phenomenal goal that you would have not seen. Like, it just came out of nowhere, right? You and I are sitting there, Ryan, going, man, a header goal would be real nice to see here. I haven't had a header goal in a while. And Denkey's like, I'd rather use my foot,
I'd rather do a bicycle kick.
Yeah.
I was so excited to talk about this. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you see just a beautiful ball. Shout out to Luke Warshano for this. He gets the assist on it. I don't want to discredit him from this play, but for Denkey, the audacity just to, hey, I'm going to lift my foot and get anything on this. Gets it off his shin. Like, if we want to like talk style points, we can talk style points, but it's a bicycle kick.
Yeah.
And just unbelievable for him. I mean, he takes his shirt off right away, and I love, like, I think Laurel might even commented and said, like, did he mean to do this? Did he mean to, last game he lifted it above his head and got a yellow. Like, I'm going to take it off completely this time, and really make it a yellow.
I think the commentators were like, he earned that one. He earned that.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And, like, if you get, like, that good of a goal, like, you deserve to be able to do whatever celebration you want to do. Let's be honest. So, unbelievable. I just was in awe. But the three reactions like that you wanted to point out, I go back and I zoom in after and watch this video probably 100 times. But Hagelin, immediately with his hands to his head, Engel covering his mouth, like, what? Did he just do that? And then Miles, they're all kind of like, yeah, just doing the hand, like, unbelievable. What I was going to comment is just how jacked this guy is, like, to be able to like even catapult his body up like that. It's just unbelievable. So, in that moment,
do you think at the end of the year he'll have more yellow cards for taking his shirt off rather than like dissent or something?
Celebrate. He's gonna have more yellows for celebrations than he will for run of play.
If you had the physique like that, man, I think you'd be like, yeah, I mean, makes sense,
Well, if you look at this, like, so I think Atlanta game he gets yellow, right? I believe.
I think so.
And then he's got 2 here recently. I mean, he's got at least 3 or 4. Is he 1 or 2 away from his suspension? Like, I don't know, but I mean, he's scoring goals, and he in that moment, a brace. We go up 2-0. You're feeling solid. You feel like, we could get another 2, 3, possibly. The man was looking for a hat trick.
Dangerous.
I think shortly after this wasn't it? 2-0 is very dangerous. It's the most dangerous scoreline for sure. But he almost gets a hat trick, I believe. Like there's a through ball that he goes through, left-footed shot.
The keeper just stops it with his hand.
Yeah, that's right. He pushes it out. It was close, but I mean, the guy really wanted the hat trick there. And, you're looking at it in the moment. You're like, this guy had a bicycle kick. He had another one. He's got a brace. Like, he's got to be, team of the match day for sure in the MLS, but probably player of the week, right? And then the Nashville guy gets 4 goals, surge. But there was some PKs, I think, as well. So that's not as much.
We're going to get
you score a bicycle kick?
Yeah.
Yeah, come on. It's got to be goal of the year. MLS goal of the year?
Yeah.
Are we calling it? And what's crazy is like MLS goal of the year 3 years in a row, possibly in TQL.
Yeah, at home.
Lucho, Luca Arshano's bicycle kick. 3 years in a row, goal of the year.
Our fans have been blessed. Yeah.
And you had the Puskas, Barriolo's volley at home. I mean, we've just been blessed in TQL just to see great goals, but I don't think we've ever seen a bike goal like that, at TQL. Yeah. And I mean, you get the Acoli scissor kick, you get the Barriol volley. We'll get into the conversation of that here in a bit, but you're feeling good, Sammy. At this point, you kind of just want to ride it out. Get another one if you can. Secure the 3 points at home, stay undefeated. But Sporting KC gets a kind of a scrappy goal out of I would say out of line of what the play was. What did you see in this moment? Yeah,
we struggled to kind of clear the ball out there. Once again, I feel like this has kind of been kind of the same thing that we've seen in these 1-0, 2-0 games. And like we talked about,
let's be honest, they just want to make it a 1-goal game.
Yeah, you got to make it interesting. They always want some drama, right? So that's 5 straight games, by 1 point or one goal. So
1 goal, yeah.
They always wanted to be interesting. But I think this is interesting. After going back and watching this match, right? You and I were like, there's actually a foul on Santos right there. He gets pushed back, right? In the build-up for Kansas City that is not called. Obviously,
it goes to VAR.
They checked it for a while. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how you go to VAR and you don't see that he clearly gets shoved in this play. Like, it's a foul.
He sells it a little too much, but once again, a foul is a foul.
It's a foul. It's a foul. If you're going to go and check, and that's what you are looking for as a foul, you see a foul. And then on the goal,
obviously, great finish, right? Like, that was just a good finish by the Kansas City player. I mean, you could argue Celentano needs to guard his near post a little bit better, but
it's a hard shot.
It's a hard shot. It's a really hard shot. And if he gets a hand on it, it's probably hit so hard that it's just going through his glove, right? Because he's got to put one hand up. So
right.
Tough there, tough break, but luckily for us.
Well, then you're feeling like you're sweating it out.
Oh, I know. Well, but luckily for us, right, it was 89th minute. So you're like, okay, they don't have a whole second half to go get
True.
us.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's still not a fun feeling. No. you have a 1-goal game again and at home, kind of nerving it out. I think there was some chances by KC, even by Evander, though. 91st minute, Powell drove the ball forward in a,
Love
patented
it.
Elvis Powell run that he does, the snaking run that he makes through. Baird plays the ball perfectly for, Evander pushes it over the bar.
Just a little bit
one
under
that
it.
you want
Yeah.
back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a nice cutback cross by Baird. I think Evander 9 out of 10 times, would we say, probably puts that one in.
Yeah.
Would have been 3-1. It ends up 2-1. It's a win. It's 3 points. Again, can't be too mad about that, but at the same time, like, man, you really feel like you could dominate. What's kind of crazy, though, is, if you look at Sporting KC scores 5 goals in their last match against San Jose. You hold them to 1, could have been 0. You feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, like you said, a defense where Yedlin's, right, having to play in the middle there at the end of the game.
Right.
Brad Smith comes in. But now, Ryan, 5 wins in a row and unbeaten in 6. So we're even on, a bigger role than, some might think as well. But we reclaim the top spot in the East with Miami dropping points. We're now 7-2-1. So that makes it 3 consecutive years that the Orange and Blue have topped the table in the MLS season, Ryan. It's the first time a club has achieved that since DC United in 1996 through 1998, which is...
This stat is interesting. I think it's cool, but, like, could it be, like, 3 games into the season and, you're top of the Shield, Like, I want to see it, like, after 10 matches, like, after 10 matches, that's when we've done it 3 years in a row now. That's the more meaningful stat, I think, if you really look at it. It's been after a sustained amount of time.
Yeah.
Correct. It's not just like 3 games in, we're the top, and that's so it's a little misleading, but it's still impressive.
Yeah, still an impressive feat for sure. Obviously the MLS Communications gives Roman his flowers in this one because this was his first or his 100th regular season start. And he actually is tied for the highest winning percentage by a goalkeeper in MLS history with 66.5%, which is very impressive as well. I put the tweet out of, like, Ryan, you go back to all the keepers we had before Salentano, right? We had Teton, we had, even Bobby Edwards, right? Like Spencer Ritchie, right? Even all these guys, come in, and then you get Roman, and it's almost like, oh my gosh, like, thank you so much. Like, consistent keeper play is something we've been missing.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to him. Like, we'll give him credit where it's due for sure. And 100 matches, like, already for him, that's pretty crazy. I think 3 years now that he's been, like, the actual sustained starter, if you want to look at it.
Because he's been here since
23.
Yeah.
Well, I guess midway 22, 23, all 24, and then this is 25. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Perfect in April, Sam. So third time we've had a perfect month in league play and club history. I was gonna put out this stat prior to this game, and I waited. I wanted to wait because Pat Noonan has had an incredible run in the months of April and May, Sam. I was texting to you. I think, like we've talked about, this run between April, May, June.
We've been watching
is kind of where we catch our stride. So 2022, 4-match win streak between April and May. You did have some losses kind of on the outside of that, but 2023, April 3-1-1, May 5-0-0. So that was Shield winning year. Last year, 2-0-2 in April, 5-0-1 in May, and then this year undefeated in April. So April, May is a nice time, for Pat Noonan and for FC Cincinnati. I'm hoping that they can continue it, into May now with some tougher competition. If you really want to be a little bit nitpicky on, the competition of things, but you won the games you should. Is the big thing. And I mean, even with rotated lineups, with different injuries, all of that stuff, people being out, different competitions, I guess not as much of a deal in April or May, maybe I guess early on with Open Cup and stuff like that. But to be able to do that now year after year, and it's shown now sustainably, pretty cool to see. Let's kind of catch fire towards the end of the season now too, when it matters as well. I was about
to say, it looks like we're a spring team. Can we become a fall team as well? Could we?
Let's do that too. Let's just get our run a form and just continue it all the way through.
Yeah.
Big conversation out, Sam. Obviously we see this bicycle kick goal by Kevin Denkey. Best FCC goals in our history. We'll give you our Flyin Lion edition here for what we think. We're going to go back to the USL days because we don't want to discredit anybody. There's been some unbelievable goals. You had put some shouts on here. Let's hear it.
Yeah, so obviously starting with the first couple of days, you'd already mentioned it. First USL championship goal, it starts out with a banger, right? Shauna Coley, scissor kick, right? I mean, there's just I think the moment, right, along with the fact that it was a scissor kick kind of elevates it even more. You get the GB header, right, to beat the Crew. Huge goal there. Not anything flashy, but once again, moment, right? And then Ledesma, right? Any Ledesma goal outside the 18, you could look back and go, wow, just how did he make that? Where did that come from? Like anything like that. And then, ones that we've already touched on, the Barreal Puskas nominated goal in the USL Open or US Open Cup. And then Luca Orshano from 70 yards out, Lucho's masterful 3-force, Mucho Lucho solo goal there. And then finally Denkey bicycle kick. Ryan, I mean, I see a lot of people out there obviously giving Denkey his flowers, but a lot of people, we had the same conversation last year, right? And we're going,
it's year to year.
Yeah,
every
it's
year they
to year.
top each
And
other.
People
they
were
just top
comparing
each
other. Luca's better than Barrial's Puskas. And I think Barrial's Puskas still, I think for me, holds
technique is hardest.
Yeah, the technique
hardest to want.
What I will say,
the Denkey behind that because you take it out of the air 100%, on a cross.
100%. But so what we can say though, Ryan, is Denkey's bicycle kick is the best goal FC Cincinnati has ever had inside the 18.
Yeah, that's a good shout. I think that's a good point. Yeah. I wanted to give Kenny Walker his flowers just from USL. He had a half volley goal, I think, from about half field against Richmond Kickers. That was also a nice one. Seen a couple people, the header back and forth with Moreno and Lucho that led to a goal in Atlanta was pretty cool on the volley. There's been just some awesome goals, honestly. And if you really want to get into the nitty gritties, on it, yeah, I would say best goal inside the 18. That's a great shout that we've seen for FCC.
Yeah, just to give ourselves some technicality so that way people aren't like, oh my God, well, what about Barrial? It's like, well, we said inside the 18,
He's up for goal of the week. Go and vote. I think that'll be up for a little bit. He's leading, I think, 65% of the votes right now, as he should. But yeah, go and vote for that. Let us know your thoughts. There's a huge discussion every year that comes out, from this. But Sam, before we go to a break, I think you have a really good trivia question for us.
Yeah, the theme of this trivia of the week is the number 9, right? If you have not noticed yet, Denkey has 6 goals, Ryan, in 9 matches in league play. Where does that rank among FC Cincinnati's 9 all-time number 9s? In their first 9 league matches, USL and MLS?
I think he's first. I'm going to go for it.
All right. Ryan says
I'm going to lock it in.
He's locking it in. We'll see what it is on the other side.
Hey, FC Cincinnati fans. We are pumped to share our 2025 sponsor, Peak Cocktails.
Oh, dude, Peak Cocktails. I absolutely love it. I'm so excited to have them as a partner. Ryan, I'm sipping right now on the Blood Orange Spritz. It is absolutely amazing. If you're that type of person that wants something subtle, right? Little ginger flavor, this is the one for you. A little bit of a recipe, promotes exercise recovery, enhances the relaxation a little bit. What are you sipping on over there?
Yeah, I got the passion fruit margarita. It kind of fits my dad bod life that I got going on right now. I'm trying to be a little bit more health conscious and have that lifestyle. But yeah, I could also sip it on the beach, which is nice about it. I mean, you can have that versatility. If you just want it as a nice sip, or if you want it as a post-recovery drink, this is what Peak is. I mean, we love it. We adore some. I've been following Peak for a couple of years now. But yeah, again, go check out Peak Cocktails. We love them. Next time you're looking for, like we said, any of what we had described. Post-workout drink, just a little pick-me-up. If you're drinking on the beach there as the summer's coming up here, go check them out. www.peakcocktails.com and use the code Flyin Lion at your checkout, and you'll get 20% off your first order. Sam, enjoy that drink.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Flyin Lion Podcast. Thanks for listening to our sponsor there. Of course, 5 wins in a row, Ryan. So that means we're going with the jersey swaps, the positive vibes, right? We're still going here. So jersey swap first. I'm going to go with you first. Who is your jersey swap of the week?
Wow.
I know. Crazy, right?
Oh, man. Switch it up on me, Sam. I actually had Pavel Buka in this one. I felt like Buka continues just to be a vital player for Cincinnati. He doesn't get a goal or an assist in this game, but led to a lot of chances, created, progressed the ball. I was doing some stats, a little bit of a deep dive here for you, but shot creating actions for Pavel Buka, 2024, 2.13 per game, which was 36th percentile compared to other midfielders. 2025, 3.63 per game, 83rd percentile. So he's really kind of lifted his chance creation as more of a true 8, contributing to the offense, more of that kind of box-to-box type guy. And he's invaluable. Looking at his minutes, he's, I think, leading the team or up there with Roman for most minutes. And he's just always in there. He's always contributing. And I thought, like, in this game, he played a vital part.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, if he's not on the end of, I think he's a crucial part in that Engel shot, Denkey right there. For him and Evander to be on the same page now in the midfield, to be able to, right here, through ball, through here, and then, up to Denkey or up to Orishano. Yeah, I think the chemistry has been undeniable, and he's the starting piece in that, in the midfield, facilitating it all. So once again, doesn't always get the flowers via the stat sheet, but is definitely showing off for us on the field as true soccer sickos.
Well, and yeah, that's true. And just because he doesn't get the love all the time as well. But I think the guy loves being in Cincinnati. Like, he's had his family move across the whole world, to be here. And I think he's 25, 26 years old, 26, and he's just rounding in, to his prime. And it's really exciting to kind of know that I'm hoping we'll be able to keep Buka for years to come. And just to think how we can continue to build around him. Every year there's going to be conversations where can we improve this team? And it's if Weston McKennie comes, does Buka go to the bench? It's Buka's so valuable, and what he does. And again, if you look at some of the games we saw without him in there, I think the one that comes to mind is the Philly game again, is just, again, how valuable he was. And when he wasn't there, we got killed. When he's there, we always have a fighting chance. But I think the one moment that stands out, Sam, in this match is he lost the ball kind of on a cheap play. He kind of lost his focus, and he just worked his butt off to get the ball back. You go and you see him win it back. It leads to a breakaway for us. But he's always working so hard in that midfield. You need that engine there. And shout out to him. I felt like he's had a great year so far. I think somebody said it would be a nice honorable mention for him to get into the all-star conversation. I doubt that'll happen because it's all by stars and stats and everything. Yeah. And numbers, yeah, absolutely. But very, very happy to have Pavel Buka in the orange and blue. Sam, who do you have for your jersey swap? Shocker here for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, jersey swap of the week for me has got to be Denkey, right? If it's not going to be anybody else, it's got to be him. I mean, Ryan, this was his first multi-goal game in the orange and blue, which is awesome. More to come, obviously, and that's now 9 goal contributions in 13 career FCC matches. His hold-up play continues to get better and better, and you see that. He has 100% pass completion in this match, so he's not making those easy mental errors as much anymore in this past match. Obviously, a worldie of a goal. Best FC Cincinnati goal we've ever seen inside the 18 there. I think we've heard it, from the rest of the MLS after that goal is just look out for Denkey the rest of this MLS season.
Yeah, I mean, just he's rounding into form. We talked about it a few episodes ago, was like everyone's, man, he hasn't had a goal in the run of play. And he's like, oh, you guys are talking about me? Let me just go and go score some goals here real quick and change that narrative. But Sam, did you see his comments after the match that I think somebody had interviewed him, and without even knowing what Pat Noonan said about, man, that's probably one of the best goals I've ever seen. He's like, it's all about the teamwork and about the work you put in ahead of time, and like unbelievable professionalism. And we just haven't seen, I hate to say it, like at the number 9 position, just a unbelievable human, a person, honoring a former FCC player the last game, going and scoring a worldy goal, this game, and just being so humble about it. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Like, we're doing this for you. I work my butt off for you guys and for the team, and we have bigger goals. And that's just really cool to see, is like, it's a big moment, but he also sees like there's more to come out of this.
Yeah, I think, like you said, to have the wherewithal to enjoy the moment and be in it, right? And not look past that moment in the game and take the time after the game to go, you know what? I enjoyed the moment there on the field. That was great, but we've got more coming. You're probably gonna see another worldie this year type mentality.
I mean, you're gonna see everything from this guy. It's just unbelievable. Like, everyone want to say latte laugh and most expensive transfer and this and that. Like, I'm gonna roll into my card, Sam. I just made it up right here, right now. Card of the week is all the haters for saying latte laugh and Kuipers and this and that. Like, Denkey's the man. He is the best striker in the MLS because of what he can do on the field, off the field, his work ethic, what he does off the ball, with the ball, scoring goals. I mean, like, he's shown it. The haters are my card of the week for what they've said about, Denkey and coming over to the MLS, at this young of an age. Like, he took a chance. He could have gone to the Premier League. He could have gone to La Liga. He chooses FC Cincinnati. He chooses MLS. And, I mean, what a fun player to watch. So that's my card.
You could throw the Zaha people in there as well, right?
Yeah. Zaha's getting a lot of slack right now too, but like saying, oh man, Zaha's like this world-class guy. Like, Denkey's doing it consistently now. And I would say consistently, I guess, over like a couple games. But imagine if he's doing this continued throughout the season. We're going to see 25, 30 goals maybe. I think didn't we do a poll early on in the season about how many we might see from him?
Yep.
So we'll have to go back and check.
We'll go back and get that. Yeah, for sure. Now that we're like, oh man, like we might actually be real close here.
Yeah. Sam, it was hard to find cards this week, but what did you have for your card?
Yeah, I know. I mean, we were sitting there like, man, it's been a really good week across soccer. Wrexham just got promoted too, so we were like, do we highlight that? Do we, give a little shout out to Wrexham, almost to the Premier League next season? Like, that's crazy. But on the somber note, card of the week for me is LA Galaxy has 0 wins in the MLS right now. You go from MLS Cup champions to 0 wins in 10 MLS matches. That's just crazy, going from top to bottom. Ryan, I don't think I've seen statistics out there, but there's definitely some out there on, if there's any MLS teams in the history that have done that, where they've gone from the top and finished in the bottom. And what I keep thinking is, imagine if the MLS had promotion and relegation. It'd be like a Man City or a Liverpool going down the year after they won. It's just incredible. I know they've had injuries. Bad form has kind of kept them out of wins this season, but just something you don't see that often.
No, especially from an LA team where, like, historically you're going to get all of these unbelievable DPs, or a Marco Royce coming in on a TAM deal, and to have no wins at all. Like, they made a run in Champions Cup.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So like, if you want to say like they had a run there and they kind of put all their eggs in that way. But yeah, no wins, I mean, is crazy. And so you go from winning the cup and then you say, well, does Greg Vanney, is he on the hot seat right now? Do you just have a coach that just won MLS championship and he hasn't won a single game in 10 matches, Sam. Like, that's wild. And I think in a lot of ways, if you really go and dissect it, like, they had to drop a lot of their starting lineup from that cup run.
Couldn't afford them.
It was because they couldn't afford them. And it's just the way the league is set up, not being able to, bring these guys back in on club-friendly deals, whatever it is. And maybe some guys overperform. Like we saw that with our Shield year and how that kind of impacts the team. Regardless, yeah, like to have your cup team, like, oh, well, how are the Galaxy doing this year? Oh, man, they're in the spoon chase right now?
Yeah.
Like, whoa. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's literally like looking at a Liverpool or a City or an Arsenal. Like,
that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, it's wild, man. That's a good shout.
Yeah, I think to your credit though, touching on your side as far as the haters, right? I think there's been a lot of haters on the Galaxy, a lot of haters on us, and how we were originally, right, at the beginning of the year, we're constructing our roster, right? 2 DPs, 4 U22s, like, why don't you guys go out and get another guy? And to roll into this April transfer window, right, it closed, comes and passes, and we don't have an addition. The biggest, addition after Evander was Brad Smith, and he was on a free. So really haven't done much there. So Ryan, anything you're seeing as far as like future wise right now? What are we looking at for this past window?
The fact that you don't need to add tells you that you're doing amazing in 10 games. Like, I mean, that's what you want as a GM. Like, and kind of in a way of like, okay, well, now we can take our time. Is the biggest thing I would say is like you're coming into this run of form. Chris Albright says, well, I don't feel pressed to go and bring somebody in that, maybe we shouldn't, or that we're trying to just press into this because we really need to get results. Like, you get guys back healthy now. You don't have, knock on wood, we don't have any other guys that are going to be out for a sustained amount of time. So you can really kind of pick and choose what you want to do at this point. As you mentioned, 4 U22, 2 DP spot. In the summer, you can switch that mechanism. Do you want to go and get a third DP? So you have that flexibility. I think that's the biggest thing that it comes down to. The best teams in this league are able to find that run of form late on in the season, maybe with an addition here or there in the summer window, but they only get 9 or 8 games to even contribute. So put yourself in a good position, have flexibility in your roster, and then add somebody as a luxury and not as a in need position like we did last year with the striker that didn't.
I think
didn't hit.
What you're saying right now is we're 5 wins.
We're
in
a good spot.
Exactly,
we're in a
pretty
good
good spot, and chemistry, right, is a lot different than what we saw at the beginning of the year. We gave it time, and these guys continue to play with each other. We don't have extra competitions like the Champions Cup to take us away from training, because that was what Carter was talking about. Really, was time in training with these guys to be able to mesh and to figure out the play. And right now it's clear that Albright is waiting till the summer to plug those holes that are more apparent then, not, trying to, add and build a culture right now, right? When we're already built, like it's already built, So being able to plug.
There's a lot of overreactions here and there about, it's not good enough, like, what more can you want out of like the fact that they've won five in a row now, top of the East? You bring in all of these new players and you're still in that spot. Like, let's give Albright a round of applause for what he's done in this short amount of time. Like, I don't want to hear, him and Noonan gotta go. Like, you can ask questions, but ultimately, what did Tommy G say to us when we interviewed him, Sam?
Let him cook.
Let Chris cook.
Let him cook.
Let Chris cook. And so if there's one thing I've learned is like, these guys know what they're doing. They're not going to go and get all just former Philadelphia Union players, i.e. San Jose, and getting all the former New England players. They're going to make the right team. They're going to find the right fit. So I feel good about this.
Do you think we just need to start putting at like the beginning of every single transfer window, just let Chris cook? Like, do we just need to put that out like at the beginning of every transfer
window? What's FCC's plan for this window? Let Chris cook.
Yeah, exactly. Like, take the pressure off. Here, this is the mantra throughout this entire transfer window forever, as long as Chris is with us. I think going forward, obviously, we'll see what happens in the summer. But for right now, obviously, we didn't see any additions. Don't need any. As you know, we've got a lot of young guys that'll be able to contribute here soon as well.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. And like, if we were looking at the Thomas Muller situation, and saying like how he would be a luxury add to this team, well, he can also detract from the team and his age and injury risk, and you spend a lot of money for what reward possibly. Well, he rejected a bid for FCC. Laurel and I think the BILD had reported we made an offer, it was rejected. The question would be, DP, was it a TAM deal? Obviously, we'd have to kind of switch up mechanisms. I would assume it was a DP level kind of spot that they would have offered. We own his discovery rights is the important thing to look at. So the same conversation comes with the De Bruyne situation, Sam. Okay, if he rejects our bid, number one, can we renegotiate and try to find something that would work? If it doesn't, is another team interested? If another team is interested in MLS and they want to go and get him, well, technically they have to buy his rates off of us. But this whole talk right now with De Bruyne is like, hey, if there's a team that's out there, we're not going to stop anybody from doing that to get this player in the league. We're not going to let the discovery rights and that negotiation slow down that possibility. So I think like it's again, like Chris knows what he's doing. Look at what he's done with international spots to get GAM. Like he's going to somehow maneuver this discovery rights for this player to somehow get an asset that benefits us, even if it isn't.
Well, it could be on the back end too, right?
True. Yeah, like a favor sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, all right, well, you could take him. Maybe you guys can just go ahead. We're not going to charge discovery rights, but remember this. And then the next time we want one of your players, you're going to come back to us. I think I talked to you, Sam, last time about Chris Albright did an interview at GA Cup and talked about how Portland was so willing to work with us to wait, for the Lucho situation to get figured out. Like Chris has got to have the most amount of aura and all of the MLS just to be like, these guys are going to wait for me, to figure this out. And then they're going to offload him, or they just really wanted Evander out, which is just hilarious.
Does the MLS, they have like MLS, like winter meetings, right? Like the MLB, you know what I mean? Like I'm just seeing like Chris walk by, right? Some of these like conference rooms and people are like turning heads like, that's Chris Albert right there. That's
he's got to have some sway, man. I feel like him and Garth Lagerway down in Atlanta, both of them, you hear a lot of good talk. But as we move forward, Sam, if we want to look at the second team, they did play Atlanta United 2. We did get a shootout win, so that's 2 points. Again, different rules than MLS, but 2 points. Again, third straight positive result for them, which is great. You had a PK win, and then 3-point win, and then back to a PK win. Starting to see some of that chemistry get developed in that squad, a little bit more confidence. But now they start a 3-match road stretch, Sam. So they don't play until this coming Friday, which is May 9th, or I guess next Friday, not even this Friday, next Friday. So a little bit of a gap there, but they're starting to put it together. Good for the young Garys. I think some of those guys, like you said, are starting to round into form. It's the same thing as the first team. They're just starting to get used to each other.
Yeah, we saw a Steven Jimenez start for FCC2 this past
Wasn't
week.
on the bench for the first team.
I know. Which I thought was interesting to see. Obviously,
We should have a stat, Sam. How many games it's been since Steven Jimenez was not on the bench?
Well, so I think we need to
restart the count.
Yeah, we need to do that. And then, like, what's the record that FC Cincinnati has when Steven Jimenez is on the bench? He's like, is he a good luck charm, or are we better without him? What's the vibe there?
He's the vibes guy. He's the vibes guy.
He's the vibes guy in the locker room. That's funny. So obviously with FCC2 getting positive results, so is FC Cincinnati, and we're looking to make that continue here next match away against NYCFC. Currently, NYCFC sits at 9th right now, Ryan. They have actually won 2 of their last 3, but don't have I think they've lost 3 out of their last 5. So they've done well recently. Big guy up front is Alonso Martinez, player to watch. He's got 6 goals right now. I believe that's right, second in the MLS or second in the
Tied for
MLS.
second.
Yeah, with
Yep.
like 5 other players.
Denkey and
Yeah.
Evander.
Yeah, so I mean, in this, are we looking as far as from our standpoint, Kubo, Hadebe, do we see them, a sub appearance? Do we see something from them? And I think the biggest question mark is Obi starting in this one?
Yeah, I think like you look at how narrow, this game is on the road. You look at how narrow this game is going to be played in Yankee Stadium. Does that come into who you play? It's always a physical game when you play against NYCFC. So you start guys that are just coming off of injury. Do guys pick up knocks? Like we always talk about, like they can pick up knocks during the week. So everything we talk about here, take with a grain of salt.
Well, this is a Sunday game too, right?
It is a Sunday game, yeah, Sunday match. So you have one extra day to get these guys back. It sounds like Hidede and Kuba are close.
Yeah.
And so again, to not be able to, or I should say the luxury to have them come back in a timely manner, but to also take their time. We don't necessarily need to have Kubo or Hidede.
I don't think there would be a
guys
scenario in this game where you go, oh man, like if they would have been out there, it would have been different. Like I don't know if we see any of those types of moments.
Sure. Yeah. And I think a sub is probably a good shout if we go up a 2-0 or something, and you can get Kubo back in there and start building some of that back. Maybe Hidebe in the back as well. We always will play NYCFC tough. Like that's how I forever foresee it, especially as long as they're playing in the stadium that they're playing in. It's always a physical game. It's very narrow. Like, how does that benefit us in a way? Like, does that change our lineup? We always talk about, do we need a big body up front to be that starting striker? So, I mean, obviously Denkey's there, but Sam, in this match, my question to you, do you put in a Santos to try to stretch the field lengthways and to have a little bit more speed that direction, or a second striker to kind of offload Denkey, because it's going to be more of that physical match? You have to play it, I would say, a slightly different kind of game to get a result there. Free kicks, different things like that we've seen in the past that have allowed us to win in that setting. So it'll be interesting to see. I think you might switch it up a little bit and see if a Luka might play out wide instead, or get a Santos up top. Maybe he goes the same and completely just says like, hey, for the first time this year in MLS play, let's get the same lineup. Because I don't think we've had a consistent one to this point.
I think we've had, maybe there might have been like once this year where we've had the same lineup.
One, other one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I had to guess, because I feel like I saw somebody say that on there, but once again, it's online, so you never know what's true. But yeah, to your point, if we could get the same starting 11, that'd be great as well. Because Anunga's been doing well. And maybe we see another Obi closer situation where the roles are reversed and we start playing the closer music for him in New York City. So I think that would be pretty cool. Maybe you hear the trumpets coming, since they're in New York City. I know they're in Yankee Stadium, but I think it'd be pretty cool.
You're referring to the Mets closer.
Yes.
Diaz,
yeah.
Yeah. I think, like somebody said online to us, and to your poll was, if Obi's healthy and can start, then he starts. But Anunga has been serviceable, even if it's 45 in the second half. Like, I feel solid with him in there. And a physical game, like Anunga has shown himself to be good in those situations. So maybe that's not a bad kind of a point there. Prediction wise, it looks like you have us winning, but what do you think?
Yeah, like you said, I think it's tight. I think it's a tight game, and I think we get another 1-0 win.
Okay.
I think we keep it rolling, but like you said, it's by the skin of our teeth. We're gonna really have to fight for this one, because I feel like in the past, couple games that we played in NYCFC, they've controlled actually a lot of the possession, and we've had to try and counter a little bit more, especially on that field. I feel like they've always had more possession on there, so we just got to figure out a way to, like you said, get through that physicality.
Yeah, I mean, even at like ninth, like after last year, like none of these guys, I should say none of them, some of these guys remember playing them last year in the playoffs, and like there's got to be some sort of grudge against them, I would think, even the coaching staff. But new year, different scenario. They're ninth in the East. Like, you can't overlook it. It's
No.
I almost feel like it's going to be like a trap game in some aspects. Like my initial thought is like draw, like 1-1 draw. But then on the flip side, I'm like, we're riding this vibe right now, and it seems like they've figured a lot of this out. I think I'm going to go 2-0 win. I'm going to go with a clean sheet. We're both going with the clean sheet vibes there. Would love to see it. A Sunday afternoon match as well. So we'll have to wait, but we get to watch some MLS games on Saturday, not have to fret or worry, and just kind of carefree watching, scouting maybe, some other teams as well. Do you like the Sunday matchups setup? Do you like that so far this season that they've done?
Yeah, I think so as well. It's a lot more than we've seen in the past. And it, like you said, it opens up the opportunity for people who do have MLS season pass to actually use it and watch some other teams that they may not be, able to watch because they're at the FC game at 7:30, and so is every other game going on at the time, right? So being able to spread it out a little bit more now that football is not going on, I think you're able to do that. We'll see what happens in the fall, though.
That's true. That might be a little bit more conflicting, but at least having one like as the highlight match. I don't believe that ours is going to be like the MLS like Sunday showcase one. I think it's like a 3:30 start or something like that. But yeah, it should be a fun one. Again, hoping to get 6 wins in a row. I mean, if we look at the past few years, I think I had texted you. So 5 wins this year. Last year, I think got up to 7 wins in a row, and then the year before was 6.
Yeah.
I believe. I could be wrong about that.
I think Patrick put that out too.
Okay. So, I mean, again, this time of year is friendly for us. Would be solid to see. Before we go, Sam, let's close it out. Let's hear this question. I'm interested.
Yeah. So going back to the trivia of the week, Denkey scored 6 goals in the last 9 matches in league play. Where does this rank among FC Cincinnati's all-time number 9s in their first 9 matches? And Ryan had said this ranks Denkey first. He's the number 1 overall. He is actually second. He is second all time, Ryan. And I actually, going into the research of this, I was like, for sure he's going to be first. No question about it. GB is actually first with 7 goals in his first 9 matches. Ryan, he had a game where he had 4 goals. GB did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
And so he was
That's
first.
Crazy.
Denke second. Boop in there for 4th. And then,
so this is just for like league matches, though,
yes,
correct?
just league matches. And then Boop was at 3rd with 4 goals, tied for 4th. Fernando Adi and Akoli with 3 goals. 5th was Brenner, and then tied for 9th was Nico Giacchini, Regatan, and Omiyabo.
Wow,
Omiyabo.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But so if we look at, in all comps, he's got 8 goals now and 13 matches, through all competitions.
9 goals.
He's got 9? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's the 9th one from?
I thought he had 9.
I see 6. So 6 in the MLS, and then he had 2 in Champions Cup at least. Fatma might be lying, but that's what I'm seeing. Still
miscalculated.
Impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive. Hope that he can get another one in this game. Sam, do you want to pick out who do you think is going to score if we're going 1-0 or 2-0?
I think Evander. I think Evander's got a score here.
Evander's did it for it?
Well, he dropped his score streak, right? He had 3 in a row, and he didn't score this last one.
Right.
So he's like, you know what? Denke is getting a lot of praise here. I need to pick my streak back up here. Who do you think? What's going on? You think a Buka goal or?
No, Sam. Lucas Engel is going to get on the score sheet.
Well deserved.
He's been so close all season. He deserves one. No, I would love him. Buka would be a nice shout.
Or Shano.
Yeah. We're going to say it everyone until he scores his first one this year.
Do you think Shano gets a goal before LA Galaxy gets a win?
Oh, that's a poll to put up.
Ooh.
That's a good one. That's a good one to put up. Luka, I'm taking it. Luka before the Galaxy. Who do the Galaxy have next, Sam?
I have no idea.
let's go and look at what the possibilities. They play Sporting KC, so they might get their first.
They could. They might. But hey,
But-
they might get 5 dropped on them though.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That's true. Well, thanks everyone again for tuning in. Sorry again for a different setting for me here down in Florida. I'm rocking this orange and blue down here, cheering on hopefully Vancouver to beat Inter Miami in CONCACAF Champions Cup. Second leg is going to be this Wednesday for that one. So hope to be able to see that happen. But thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.